Yeah, they're hypocrites. I mean, that's essentially what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just people don't want to be nice. They think that there's power in shaming. And they think, I mean, I've had multiple conversations with people online that think there is good in shaming people. I'm like, well, you're saying that because you're hiding behind a keyboard and it's a free shot. But if you had to sit down with that person in front of them and talk to them face to face and feel the social consequences.
Right. It reminds me, actually, remember I was telling you about one of the consequences that I look at in the butterfly effect about the tech takeover of porn is that if you're a 25-year-old adult actress, you can't get work now because you're in this sort of hinterland between teen and MILF. And I think like that's not just porn, that's the internet. Like on social media, you know, if you're a kind of loud, aggressively authoritarian person on the left or a loud, aggressively authoritarian person on the right, you're like the teen or the MILF. Like those of us in the middle, these people who are more interested in people talking to each other and they don't, you know, we don't want to like scream, we want to like listen and understand. We're like the 25-year-old adult film actress who can't get work.
Well, people don't like nuanced points of view. And they also don't like people that are willing to talk to anybody. You know, I've had so many people call me some sort of a right-wing monster. And I'm like, well, let's go over what makes a right-wing monster. What is right-wing? I support gay marriage. I support universal health care. I'm absolutely in favor, if it could work, I don't know if it would work, of universal basic income. Like, where do I become right-wing? Like, where does it go? I'm anti-war. Like, where do I become right-wing?
Well, this thing, like in politics, as in porn, everything now has to be kind of keyword searchable. So everybody has to fall into some sort of niche. And if you're not doing it yourself, then someone else is going to do it for you.
Yeah, but even when you're saying that, like, you don't. That's not real. Like, you don't have to. You don't have to fall into those categories. It'd just be easier for people to categorize you if you did fall into those categories. I'm sure I have some points of view that people would consider conservative, and I have many more points of view that most people would consider to be liberal. But it's very convenient, especially when you look like me. You know, I look like a meathead. It's easy to say that I'm some meathead conservative or a right-winger or something along those lines. But I'm way more likely to vote for someone on the left than I am for someone on the right, because I think the people on the right in general are more suppressive, especially socially and culturally. And I think that's where the real issues lie. When you look at like what Obama did, on the right. When you look at what Obama did in office in terms of like what he did as far as drones, about freedom of the press and going on after whistleblowers, and like, God, a lot of that was very right wing. If you looked at it in terms of like actual real consequences of him being the president, a lot of it was very right wing. But when you look at it in terms of like support for gay marriage and, you know, and passing the Affordable Care Act and all these different, a lot of that stuff was very left wing. Now, I don't know if the Affordable Care Act was good because a lot of small businesses, small doctors with small offices hated it and thought it was absolutely horrible and it killed their business. I don't know who's right about that because I don't have to deal with that. It's a controversial subject. But the idea behind it, I liked. I liked the idea that we would have some sort of universal health care, because I think the idea of someone being too poor to get health care in this incredible country, like if our taxes are going to go to anything, God damn, shouldn't it go to caring for our neighbors and our fellow humans? Like, that seems to me to be a no-brainer. Yeah. And that's probably a pretty left-wing idea. Well, I got a ton of those, but it's easy to call me a right-winger for whatever reason. I find that fascinating that people do not like a nuanced approach. Or not only that it's not that they don't like it, is that they find it extremely easy to categorize you in sort of a negative caricature.